When I finished my last, oh, he's taking off again. Those of you who just watched the last video know that he's back and forth. Let's talk a little bit about planetary shipping. In my last video, I mentioned that you can go to the space station view and learn a lot about what your ships are doing from the space station, but the information on planetary shipping isn't really useful there. How do you know that you've got enough ships assigned? Well, this is a way to do that. Unfortunately, it means flying around. But this is like so many factory games, it's visual. You can learn a lot of things by looking at parts of your factory. So, I'm now at the far end of my factory. I'm at the eastern end, which is the first development. I'll give it a little quick view. This is my main bus. Those of you who played Factorio probably are absolutely first on the idea of the main bus. These are all the things I might think I'm be using in various assembly lines, or in various assembly lines, or something different in this game. And right now in this area, I'll turn on. Ta-da! I'll turn on my labels. Labels absolutely kill frame rate in this game. Without them on, I can get a nice steady 60. With them, it drops down sometimes into the teen, but you can kind of figure out why. It's not visible. Alright, this is my minor robot assembly area. I had many struggles for the past few hours trying to get it to work, but now you can see I've got tons and tons of components being made. And you'll see that there's data components from each of the storages. And when there is enough in storage, not very many, there's only 13 in that one. When there's enough in storage, you'll see the actual area. Oh, just like that. Just power down and power back up again. All right, we got off track there, but that's to show what's going on here. This is what a production assembly line for one of the robots looks like. But let's go to the interesting end so we can talk about planetary shipping. See those little blue boxes that are going up and down? Those contain robots. Those are my robots. Those are really painted robots. They're being loaded in the ship. How do I know I have enough ships? When you have stored robots or bots or anything that you're sending up to the space station, they'll be stored in these columns, and so you can visually look quickly and say, hey, look at that. It's putting some in here. Do I have enough ships? Well, if they go to the top, or they're pretty full and it never gets emptied, you can be kind of sure that, oh, let me turn off that overlay. You can be sure that it's not, you don't have enough ships, or you don't have enough storage on the station. So that's something, and in my last video we talked about the space station. You'll know how to go up there and update your storage. But see how he's already come back down again, and they're loading them up. But this big ship does not carry many of these blue boxes. We can look at it and figure out weights and stuff. See, that 8, 7, that's what's stored actually in here. And the storage capacity is 10,000 kilograms of this unit. And you can go figure out how much a robot weighs and do all of that. But basically, for those who don't want to do spreadsheet gaming, as long as when the ship comes down and this puppy's staying somewhat empty, in other words, it isn't full to the top and nothing's been touched on it. So let's go look at some others. See, he's the same way. They're going to load him up the same way. This is my science robot, I think. I'll leave the labels off. It's a little hard to see it. This is my combat drone. We can know because we can come up here and look. There it is, combat drone. And see, he's full. this puppy is full, and the other way you can tell, of course, is look into the belt. If the belt going into it is full and this thing's full, it's not loading as many as it should. But if there's a ship there, it means there's enough ships. It's probably reached capacity on the space station. Well, let's check that. This is combat drone. Look at storage. Look at products. Look at combat drone. Sure is. Look at that. It's only can store 4,000, and there's 4,000 already on the space station. So, and you see that little orange triangle? More items were delivered than there's really room for. You need to update how much cargo space you have on the things. So we'll do some cargo base expansions. There you go. Now that's queued up. See, you learned that when you went over there and looked, that you need more cargo space. And you can see I've got a lot of these. I've got a lot of them. Let me turn on labels again. Oops, keep hitting the wrong button. Alright, so this is cleaning bots, snack bots, science assistant drone, mining drone, planter drone. And each one of them, there's 2 pads. And you'll notice every single one of them is full. And that's because, as we saw, most of these bots are full. I'm running out of storage, which means I'm not selling enough. If you go to, well, let's look at one of them. We just looked here. Okay, here you go. Cleaning bot. So we'll go to station, go to storage, find the cleaning bot. 4 out of 4, it's full. Let's go to finances, appliances, cleaning bot. That's why production keeps shutting down, because we've stored as many as we can store. We're selling as many as going to be. The average demand is 1,000. We're selling 950. We're selling as many from the planet as we can. So there's couple of things we can do. We can start selling more on planets. We can also, that was cleaning bot, go to sales platform, go to the cleaning bot, and we can drop the price. When we do that, you'll notice we're selling it for half the price, but demand goes from 1,000 to 4,000, so we'll move a lot more units. We'll make less money per unit, but we'll sell more units. So in the end, we're still going to make some good money. And this should help alleviate the bottleneck of stored components I have. I meant to land on that. Look at that. Isn't that terrible? Alright, let me turn off the overlays again in the HUD. And that's what you do to manage. Look at that. Isn't that magnificent? They're all taking off at once. Into the moonlight. Cool. And that's how you keep track of how much planetary shipping you need, how much you're selling, etc. The object in this game, as far as I'm concerned, is to try to sell, to make as much so that you're always got a surplus. Because eventually you can use logic circuits like I have here that connect up to the assemblers that will shut off the production of the assemblers once you reach a certain number in storage, so that you quit making enough to fill up one of these storage chambers. You could also just, of course, turn on this thing and, you know, cut down the amount of storage you have there too. But what fun is that when you can put data links on everything? Alright, let's talk about one of our items while I'm ramming here. And this is something, I'll have to turn the overlays again, the waypoints again. These are polyboard that I'm getting from the station. Now, I'm doing that because this main bus, I showed you that before, it was running kind of empty. I'm producing polyboard over there somewhere. It's hard to see, of course, because of all the different things, different waypoints on the screen. But I wasn't making enough. The main bus was getting empty. So I decided, well, I'll import it to the main bus by having it drop here. If you can see that right there, it goes down and down and down and around and ends up there. And it's also being taken out at that same point, but that's how I would do it. You'll probably notice that I have another same way. I've got this right here. I've got the polyboard's also coming here, and they're coming down and around from the landing pad there and being integrated into that flow line. So that's the example I talked about in my last video about how you can buy things in the space station and bring them down to use them in the factory. Now, again, how do I know I have planetary shipping? Same way. Let me turn off the overlays, the waypoints. If there is blue boxes stored in these little towers, that means you've got more than can fit onto the conveyor belt. That's electrical components. I'm doing the same thing. So, if you periodically fly through and all these places have blue boxes, you know you're shipping enough down from the space station to fill it. If you, on the other hand, go like this one, now see, he didn't have enough blue boxes, but this ship just arrived and he's filled it up. And it's spiraling down. This is one of my favorite little spirals here to get into this. there. To get into the electrical component line. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have ways of doing this that does not as ugly looking as sticking landing pads right above the main bus, but this works for me. The system works for me. In fact, if you kind of pull back here, and of course, my luck, it's not quite dawn yet, but you can see all of the landing pads I have. I have a lot of landing pads. Oh, by the way, I put those self-powered lights on them. You'll notice those little. I'll show you. Get close here. Let me go to the taskbar. Oh, I was on the right taskbar. See, that are these. They're self-powered lights. They don't need to be powered. They each one uses an energy cell, and that way at night the place shows up a little better. You can put them on top of everything. But you see ships going in and out from the station. But again, you just go through. You look. Does everything have some amount in the stored? Is it going up or down? Well, this is going outbound. Because these are, and he says as he turns on the waypoints again, these are transport bots going to the station. Now, if I go to the station, look at transport bots, you'll notice transport bots, I've only got less than 1,000 on board. And if I go to transport bots on the financial sheet, it shows, see, these bars scale. I can actually store 4,000. I'm storing just under 1,000, but it's producing. It's enough so that there's still always some stored on the station. This is the place where I changed the price for them. You notice I changed the price on my last video. I'm now at 125%. I raised the price to slow down the sales to allow more to be stored on the space station. And that's something you can do when you go along here to adjust how much you take away from your factory. Alright, so we got a little off topic there, but that's what these, here's another good example. Look at all those blue boxes in that storage tower. That's thermalite. I'm standing down from the space station. But that's a way to keep track of planetary shipping. If you've got enough blue boxes, either going up or going down, as long as you can see some amount of blue boxes, but not full, then you know you've got enough. If it's full and you're supposed to be going up, then you don't have enough ships. If it's full and you're supposed to bring it down, then you're okay. Like here. That's because this thing's, we're bringing it down to the complex, and we're making, you can look it up. We're making electrical components. And so that's what this is in here, is electrical components being brought down to the station, from the station. And I think we'll wind the video up right from here. I think we've explained it enough. Probably too much detail.